It's your car too.
Let's go with the green flag. Is that a Supra? Who did it? Come on. Good one.
This is the current state of affairs. I kind of boned the dog. So when we put the clutch in this, don't mind the rusty brakes. I didn't paint them when I put the new ones on. Another fucked dog. Let's just show what my problem is. Apparently when I put the trans in, I nicked this axle seal putting it in, and I've wiped a lot of it off, but you can see how moist it is under here. And I've looked all around in here, and it's this axle seal, and I've smelled the fluid, and it's gear oil. I pulled the drain plug or the fill plug out, and it's low on transmission oil, so you can see it there pooling. And again, I've wiped all this off at least once already. So what we're going to be doing is replacing this axle seal right there at the bottom of that shaft. So I'm going to do this without burning myself. There's the seal that we need to replace and get out this half shaft and the CV axle. So what we're going to try to do is remove the control arm and wheel hub assembly together without actually pulling the axle out by itself. So to give us some more room, we're going to remove these 4 bolts, 1, 2, and then mirrored on the other side. And we're going to remove this underbody brace. And then it's these 3, we got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 for the main bolt for the back of the control arm. We've got this one up here for the front. And we're going to take these 2 bolts out right here on the strut. And we're going to try to pull the hub and axle out together. And these bolts right, hold on, bear with me. 1, 2, that hold the half shaft in. And we're going to try to pull this whole shit and tree out together at once in one piece and get that seal out. Now, I took the car up on the side, as you could probably tell. And you're going to hear me get really frustrated because I have no room in here with all these damn motorcycles and go-karts and all this crap. Nothing's working, everything's broke. With me not having room to move, and we're going to try to pull all this out together. Get this freaking seal changed. For God's sakes, if I ever pull the trans again, I'll put the axle seals in the last. This is a freaking monstrosity. I'm hoping I can get the old one out and the new seal in without taking off the bottom part of this header. But if I have to, that's just another 5 bolts to get it completely out of the way where we can see what we're doing. That shouldn't take too much effort. Because there's 2 bolts back here. And then there's the 3 that you can't see because of the light. 1, 2, 3. And I got bugs around me. So we're going to try to get this out. I'm pretty pissed off, if I'm honest, with this. I thought I did a good enough job when I switched all this in the first place. Quite obviously I did not. Yeah, I'm pretty upset with myself, but I guess we live and we learn. At least I caught it before I burned up the trans. So we're going to get out our basic tools. We need a 14, we need 17, we need a 19, we need 1/2 inch drive, we need extensions. Probably going to grab a cheater pipe to put on the 1/2 inch to get that control arm off. I torqued it down and it is never seized, or anti-seized, whatever you want to call it, so it should come off pretty easy. Yeah, it shouldn't take us too much, but we'll get to it. And hopefully it won't take us too long. Hopefully everything will go as it's supposed to. So I'm gonna get on here and start yanking some stuff off. Okay, I'm not gonna film myself busting these nuts off of this car. If you can't turn a wrench and get these bolts off, then you probably shouldn't be doing this. I'm just gonna update what I've done so far and reiterate what I've taken off. Like we pointed out, these 17mm bolts that go across. Hold on a minute. I got this light all ready for you guys. And go about this part. You can see all the oil residue from everything. To get this main cross support off that's laying down there. Once you remove that, I did end up removing the bottom part of this header. I did ring off a bolt. Good God in heaven. You can tell that she burned some oil. I rang off one of the bolts in there. I'm gonna have to get a replacement for that. And I got these three off, and that gasket's split in half right there. So I'm gonna have to replace that and get some silver anti-seize. Fun little thing that I didn't know about: the copper never seize anti-seize actually doesn't do good with high temperatures, which is what I always use. And my boy Mark, who is a master mechanic, actually told me that the silver is a little better for the high heat situation. So we're gonna end up doing that. So I've done that. I've cracked these bolts all loose. I've broken them all loose. 1, 2 in the back, 3 in the middle, and 4 right there. As you can see on the strut, I've removed those, got those loose, and then this one here, they're all loose. So now we can see what we're looking at a little bit better here. So you can, hold on, I apologize for that. So you can see how wet it is all around where that seal is. You can even see some deformity in the seal itself. All we have left to do is break, oh, there's 3 of these 14mm bolts that hold the half shaft in. Need to break those loose. But we have pretty good visibility here now. Kind of see what we're getting into, what we're looking at. So hopefully this will be a little bit easier to do now. Removing that lower part of the exhaust was definitely the right idea. I've already injured myself. I'm frustrated. I'm beginning to I don't like working on cars anymore. I really don't. I'm getting burnt out on it. I've got too many and they're all broke. Okay, I digress. These 3 bolts, these 14s around the half shaft, they're coming out. Probably remove all but this one. That's the easiest to get to. Remove the other 2, especially the top one, all the way out so we can just get it out with fingers. And I still need to remove these 3 and get the hub assembly loose. But all these bolts are loose. Make sure you keep track of all the bolts and where they come out of so you don't misplace them and put the wrong bolt back in the wrong spot. I use ice cream containers and butter containers because they have lids and they're square, and I like eating ice cream and butter. I really want a beverage. I'm not supposed to be beveraging because I'm trying to diet, but tonight diets feel stupid. And I'm tired and I gotta work early tomorrow morning. So I'm probably gonna remove 2 of these 3, leave the other one loose, and get all these bolts out. And at least yank on this hub a little bit and see if I can get this pulled out enough. And have that question answered. And probably tomorrow evening I'll set about swapping the seal and putting this hub back in, and then we'll tidy this up the evening after. I'm really getting too old for this up and down nonsense. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. These 3 bolts here. Remove the hub assembly and the lower control arm and give her a couple yanks like it owes you money. Okay, so we're going to ignore the background talking, which is 4deepbets.com. Gambling on some baseball, winning some money. So as you can see, there's a seal, and you can probably see how boogered up it is. And I really did a bad job on, it's not even in down there. Like, when I was twisting this transmission in, I really screwed them seals up, and it's no wonder it's leaking. So we're gonna pull it out real quick and put the new one in so you can see how bad it is. Now, these were the bolts right here that we removed. Right there they are, hold on. There they are. That's them in it. No, here we go, my bad, here we go, there. And this is the half shaft mounting. So to get this out, we'll move over here real quick so you can see how I've got the lower control arm unbolted, and it's literally just propped up here. And you want to be careful, you don't want the spindle and all the way to the hub hanging on the brake line and hanging down on this CV axle. So I do have it wired up so it doesn't drag on everything and fall. And it's propped up by another jack stand. So pulling this seal out is actually probably going to be pretty simple if I can't just pull it out with my hand, which I cannot. So I'll get a pick and pull that out, and be very careful with the end of your axle. I did have this rag draped over it until it fell off when I touched it, but you want to wipe that off, and you want to make sure you keep it clean and don't nick it and scrape it up. But I'm going to get a curved pick and pull that seal out, and we're going to try to find a socket big enough that I can put the new one in, and we're going to pack the back end of the seal with grease so the spring doesn't come out, and hopefully it'll go in easy and we won't have any problems, and we can get rid of all this nasty that's on the bottom of this engine and stuff. I don't like having this dirty, greasy engine bay. So that's what we're going to do, pull the seal, and we will start on installing the new one. Well, I was going to film taking that seal out and putting the new one back in, and as soon as it came out, which it came out really easy, there's a metal lip behind the seal, and I just put my pick in behind it and the seal just came out real easy. And then gear oil started flowing out, so I rapidly jumped up and grabbed a new seal, and I just got some grease, still have some on my finger, and I put some in the back of the cup of the seal to hold the spring in, so it didn't come out when I put it back in, and to help it slide in. And I pressed it in with my fingers. It went in real easy. So where we're at now is I've gotten some new gear oil, and I'm actually trying to drip, and I've got some on the shaft so it'll go in easier, and I've got this little bit extra grease. I'm going to put just a little bit on the splines. I'm going to put a little bit on the inner lip of this seal so nothing chafes when it goes in, because we don't want that. So the rest of this is just basically going to be reassembly, and this is probably where I'm going to end up dropping this seal on this CV axle and spindle on my big stupid head. But we're going to try to do this while on camera, if we can here, very carefully. Right. This is where I'm gonna have to be careful, because I've got the entire hole. This is liable to be quite painful. And hop, up. If this drops on my face. It'd be great for video, terrible for my face. Oh, it's okay. That was just the hanger. Don't panic, don't panic. Up. All right. Gentle. Gentle. Okay, we're splining in. What we need to do is I've got this suspension is all out of whack on the end over here, which is what I'm maneuvering. Tip this out, not drop this hub on my freaking head. If the video just chops out, that's what's happened, and I cut it out. Okay, let's do this. See, this stuff I usually edit out, because I don't like people seeing how useless I am. I like the idea that I'm actually decent at this and I get it done in 1 or 2 shots and I don't have all these issues trying to reinstall things. But unfortunately, you're getting to see. There, can you see that? Kind of see what I'm dealing with here. Okay, so I'm a bit of an idiot and I only jacked up to one side of the car, and when I unbolted the spindle from the strut, it cocked because the sway bar is still connected and it's twisted the strut around, and I got the end link loose but not all the way off to counter that, and I don't want to tear up the seal on the end link. So before I tighten that bolt back down, I'm going to wait till drop the back of the car down, pick the whole front up to relax the sway bar on the front and do that. So we're going to try not to film it. Let's see. Hold on. You see my issue here? Up. Okay, up. 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 Don't touch anything. That's currently precariously balanced. All right, so I need to get this other bushing gently, Jared. Okay, get this bushing back on. There we go. Ooh, look at this. Hold your breath. Hold your frickin' breath. Oh, okay. Nobody move, don't talk, don't move. Hold your breath. Putting this bolt in twofold. 1, hold the strut straight. 2, hold the spindle up. All right, now let's get back under the car, and we've got to get that axle seated in. There, now that won't go anywhere. All right, so let's go back under here, over there. Boom. See that? Don't jam the axle. It'll either slip in easy or it's not lined up. See? Give her a twist, give her a jimmy, and it should slide in like that. All right. Let's put one bolt. Just one. In the half shaft carrier bearing here. I believe that's what that is. I laugh at my old age and getting a hand cramp. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now, I think this should be the bolt that goes through there. So let's put the bolt in the front of this lower control arm, and again, this is to kind of hold stuff up and keep things from getting loose. Let's see if I can get that for you guys somewhat to see what the heck I'm doing here. Y'all have to look at me. Okay. Okay. The more we have hung in place by bolts, the better everything will go together. I highly recommend you use anti-seize on these bolts, especially if you're in the north. Anybody who's watched any one of my videos knows I'm a big proponent for anti-seize salves to put on these bolts, especially in northern states, and these lower suspension bolts that are down in the grime and the salt for you people, the dirt, the road debris, the water. Okay, so there, we've got that started. We've got a bolt and a strut holding the spindle up. Can get rid of this. That's not needed. My least favorite part of all of this is this back bolt. That's for that one. No. Where's that little fella? I believe, yeah, this big one here is the center one. I believe. No, it's that one. We'll figure those bolts out. Pretty sure it's the longest one. And the longest one, there's the washer. Yeah, see, this is my least favorite one. That bolt's got to go straight in. So what we're gonna do, yeah, I'm gonna pull that out. That goes upstairs, those go underneath. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Nope. So there's that one. And then it's got to be that one. And that's our little guy. Okay. So we're going to do this medium fella. Nope. That dude right there. And then slightly longer fella. Goes there. Our little fella goes here. And we're going to leave these loose because what we're going to do is put the top bolt in the strut. We're not tightening any of these. All we are doing is getting things lined up where they need to be. There we go. Like that. Lightly put in our other two upper bolts here. Keep in mind, not a single thing is tightened. Don't burn your hand on the trouble light. You know why they call them a trouble light? Because they're nothing but trouble. My jokes aren't as funny as my dad's, but I love telling dad jokes. Sometimes he laughs. Okay. I'm just going to get these started so the axle stays in the line where it needs to be. And our end goal here is to get a jack underneath. There we go. Is to get a jack underneath that lower ball joint on the spindle. And we're going to jack it up until we can get that bolt to go in that back bushing. Okay, so let's do that now. Moving right along here. Bear with me, please. Hold on, caller. Hold on. All we're doing. Okay. We're gonna have to finagle this and try to not get punched in the face by this board. So I'm gonna reposition here. Ooh. Okay. That's much better looking. All right. See, we're right about on it. So what let's do, as you can tell I don't do this very much. Let's back out these bolts a little bit again. See if we can get this lined up a little bit better. And I can feel it coming in there tonight. It needs to come towards me some more. Burnt my elbow again. Hit my elbow. Let's see. Did I bring a big enough screwdriver to pry with? No. Do I have an old screwdriver that I can pry with? Yes. Is it going to fight me the whole way? Yes. It's like a 1/4 inch off. Like I can see it up in there. Let's try to get as much slack as we can. As my dad always told me, start the hardest bolts first and then go from there. Like usual, I didn't listen. Oh. Hey. 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 That's not the right one. Where is it? Very careful. Don't want to cross thread. Is that one or is this one? Nope. And that, lady and gentleman, that's how we do that. Now ideally these bolts and these big bushings and this one up here shouldn't be tightened until the car is sitting on the ground, so you're not bolting something in a bind. We are going to put these up snug, not tight, but snug. Okay. I really don't know why people swear by Craftsman. I hate the damn things. Free replacement, yeah. So you take it to some kid who doesn't even want to be there. They don't know what a pair of snap ring pliers are, and they replace the freaking guts of your ratchet and give you back the same piece of crap. No wonder they went out of business. Sears, that is. Okay. Now those are not torqued. They are not tight. They are snug. So, let's go over what we've done after I get this frickin' jack out of the way. All right. Now, we have the seal in. We have the axle put back in. It's greased. All of our suspension bolts are back in place. They all need to be torqued down. Please follow your book. I'm not going to look them up and quote them to you in a video. Get a manual, Google the bolts. You can go to Mazda 24/7 and Protege Garage. They all have the bolt specs. Or just get a Haynes manual. You get them used for $12 off the eBay. Make sure you torque everything down. Go over everything 3 times. Your half shaft carrier bearing bolts, all 3 of them. Go over your lower control arm bolts. There's 1 through the front. There's 4 in the back. Make sure you go over your strut and spindle bolts. There are 2 of them. Make sure you go over your end link bolts, like me, if you're dumb. You took them off. Make sure you anti-seize these things. Make sure when you put your lower brace back on, there's 4 bolts. Torque them, anti-seize them. Do not forget to check your gear oil and top it off on level ground. Don't forget to do that. That is very important, or this whole thing has been a moot. A cow's opinion. It's moo. Alright? Thank you, Joey. I believe that's all there really is. We will cut back and forth as we reassemble this car before it gets set back on the ground finally. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big that needs looked at. There's not. Don't miss anything. Don't forget what you took loose. Go step by step. If you have to re-watch the front part of this video to go over what we are taking off, go back over it. The first things that I am going to do, I am going to torque down my axle carrier bolts. When that is done, I am bolting the exhaust back on. That is 5 bolts for me, probably more like 4 for you. I have a different exhaust than you have. We've got to do that. After the exhaust is on, we will come back and go from there and go over the next step of reassembly. And hopefully this son of a bitch will be back on the road very, very soon. Here's where we are at. I had to get that new bolt for the back of the exhaust flange here. It's that one back there that I wrung off. Don't mind listening to the 4 Deep crew talking about conspiracy up there. Although if you do want to make money, 4deepbets.com, making money, cashing baseball, basketball. Got the best handicappers in the world making me money to help replace this broken crap under here. Okay, so the rear of the exhaust is back on. We got the front bolted back up where it needs to be. Used our anti-seize salve, as I have always talked about. Got the O2 sensor hooked back up front. We did torque down the carrier bearing here for the half shaft. Next step is to torque back in all 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5 bolts on the lower control arm, and bolt number 1, bolt number 2 on the strut mount for the top and spindle. We're going to get all that torqued back in where it needs to be. And after that, we're going to be putting the cross brace back on. 4 bolts. Use your anti-seize underneath here. You are running in the dirt and grime and salt and water and etc. So we will be torquing that in as well. So that's where we are at. We're going to get all that torqued down and torqued in, and for the most part we'll be done with this entire project. And I still have to get the other side of the car up and relax the tension on the sway bar so I can tighten the end link for the sway bar up here, since I loosened it to try to help me with the strut, which was wasted time, which is going to cost me more time in the end, but that's what happens. So let's go ahead and get this taken care of and done. As you saw, I did spray off the bottom of the transmission and the block with some starting fluid or whatever else you want to use that will cut the oil and the grease to get it cleaned up and get the most of the drips away, which I've done, and it's a lot cleaner now than it was, and I wiped it off. I'm gonna have to end up cleaning my garage out when we're done. I digress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, and then we've got 1 and 2. And after that, we will come back to putting the lower brace on and wrap this bitch up. Okay, so where we're at, listening to Bob Lessons at Bob Lessons or Sideshow Bob, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Tommy G, Create the Mayhem, etc. And the bod at No Mercy. That's alright. He's an idiot. So what we've done is I have finished torquing all of my suspension down. It's about 90 pounds. Depending on which bolt it is. I did all the whole control arm about 90 pounds. Including the strut to the spindle, which is here. I finished bolting back up the cross brace, as you can see down there. Did those. Don't forget to put your brake line tender back in the clip. I'm really trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. The exhaust is on, the axle's back in, suspension's bolted back on, torqued down. The only thing I am lacking, I still have to do this. I think I'm probably going to do that right now. I'm not going to record any of that because you guys probably won't need to do that if you didn't take that loose. Or if you did, you're probably smarter than me and jacked up the whole car instead of cut a corner, only did one side. Express rally. So I'm going to lower the back of the car down and pick up the other side of the front over here and relax that sway bar under there. And I need to get this tightened down. We'll come back to putting the transmission fluid back in this. That needs to be done when it's sitting back down level, so we don't overfill it. And I do have my drain pan over there, so we can make sure I get enough of it. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything, but I don't think I have. I think I've actually got all this. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. I'm gonna just get the front of the car picked up, get that end put down, and I'm gonna get this end link tightened up, and we'll come back to this car sitting on all 4 rubbers and topping off gear oil, and hopefully have this little bitch back on the road like she needs to be, like she deserves to be. And that'll end up this video with the replacement axle seal. So when you go to refill your gear oil, and I don't think I have enough here. I do have some ordered, but it's not in yet. But we're gonna try to top it off with what we've got. The way I do it is I've got a hose and a funnel here. So we're actually in the fill plug. And we're just gonna fill her up like so and let it run in here. And we've got a drain pan underneath, so when it overflows, we'll see it dripping. And hopefully, we won't make too big of a mess. And we will get the transmission filled back up where it needs to be. And the drain plug is a 23 millimeter on the driver's side of the transaxle down there, if you want to be all technical and call it a transaxle instead of the transmission. But whatever. Ignore Tommy G back there screaming and cursing. He's all worked up about the middle of last year. Let's just not listen to him. And feeling like we might actually be, yep, there we go. I'm seeing a drip. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yep. Definitely full. Definitely full of gear oil. That's going to take me a minute to get cleaned up. But that's all it takes. And I will happily say that I was actually really afraid that I ran the gearbox too low on fluid. But what I'm looking at underneath the car is I did not run it low on fluid at all. And I'm happy about it, really. I was worried that I didn't catch my fluid leak in time, and I might have ran some of the bearings a little bit dry on fluid, but what I'm looking at is I got really fortunate here, and it's not too bad, which is good, really, despite the fact that I just lost a lot of fluid into my pan, and I've created a bit of a mess. But it's not bad overall. I'm happy about it. And as far as this project goes, we're going to go ahead and paint it red and call it heavy duty. We're done. Just make sure that you got enough gear oil in it. Don't forget to torque stuff down. Make sure you get the right amount of anti-seize and on your bolts. And definitely make sure you get enough transmission fluid in it. So we're going to call that good. I'm going to torque that bolt down. You can check your specs on the Google. And we're going to call this girl back ready to get dirty. And I'm really happy about it. It's been a while. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Come on, boss! Come on! Yeah!